All right, everybody, let's try this again. Let's try this one more time here. I feel like uh, I feel like a rookie. Like the first time I went to wrestle a match. That's what I feel like right now. Um, to be honest with everybody, if you're watching right now, just hang on, hang on. All right, little Carson's in the background. Hopefully this works this time. I've had like major issues. So I figured out. I thought I figured out how to stream my mobile phone through Streamlabs, and that didn't seem like it was working out too well. Um, and then this, I've never had an issue during the season when I would live stream. I never had an issue with this software, and I don't know if it's YouTube or the software, but there were major problems. So if you guys are watching right now, I appreciate it. Eagles Nation, so you can hear and see me. I hope, because this is basically a test run. I want to go live during the draft to get I mean, there's nothing better than like a live reaction, right? Um, so that's what I'm going for. Eagles Nation, OBJ could get traded. Look, I did a video. I did a video about this earlier this week, man, and like when he was on the Giants, I absolutely hated Odell Beckham Jr. I could not stand this dude. His antics. I mean, at that point, if you would have asked me if I wanted Odell Beckham Jr., I would have said hell no. But look, you can't deny his talent. You just can't. I mean, I looked at his numbers, and just about every year except for 2017, he had over 1,000 yards receiving, and his touchdowns were up too. What's up, Roadrunner? Um, to have a number one guy on a team like that, and look, man, he's been through the Giants, he's been through Cleveland. I feel like the next place that he goes to, he's gonna act accordingly, because you get to a part in your career where you end up being Terrell Owens. Nothing against To, but he was when it didn't work out in Dallas, and obviously then when it didn't work out here, San Francisco, then he went to like Buffalo and Cincinnati, and he became kind of forgotten, and it kind of ruined his legacy. And I'm not saying that Odell Beckham Jr. Cares about a legacy. I'm not saying that at all, but uh, it's like I said, it's going to get to the point where he's going to want to prove everybody wrong. He's got a chip on his shoulder. So, uh, Eagles Nation says he got OBJ's glove. That's pretty cool, man. That's awesome. I'm a big buff when it comes to memorabilia. As I'll have to do a tour one of these days in here. Um, Next question: should we get CD Lamb? Oh man, dude, this is why I can't wait for this draft. Uh, I'm so on the fence with trading up or down, or just staying put, because there's so many like awesome wide receivers in this draft. But if they can get CD Lamb, like here's how I look at CD Lamb. Like, he's basically the best wide receiver since Julio Jones, right? And Atlanta traded, had to trade to get Julio. I think if you get a CD Lamb with Carson Wentz, uh, they grow together. You know what I mean? Like, that's what Carson needs. He needs his own guys. We saw what happened last year. As horrible as the practice squad guys were for the most part. I mean, besides Greg Ward, once Carson got his guys, man, he was on point. Got us to the playoffs with practice squad guys. If you can get him a guy like CeeDee Lamb, the caliber of CeeDee Lamb, I mean, oh my goodness, man. Him on one side, D-Jack on the other, whoever you put in the slot. I'm gonna maybe Greg Ward will say, and then if J-Jaw can turn into something, if he can just turn into something, you know what I mean? Like, we're at that point with him. I mean, and they're probably going to get 2 wide receivers in this draft. I would be shocked if they don't get 2 wide receivers in this draft. But yeah, man, I feel like if they can trade up for Lamb, and it's going to be hard because they're 21, so they're going to have to get past. I think the only way they can do it, and I said this earlier, I think the only way that they can do it is by trading with Cleveland. Cleveland at 10. And there is Andrew Berry was here last year, so there should be some kind of relationship there. That didn't help them around the trade deadline this year with Joe Douglas over in New York, but if they could somehow finagle a trade, I mean, I'd give up. Obviously, you give up this year's one. I'd give up next year's one and next year's two. I mean, I don't. Might have to get rid of this year's two. They do have a bunch of fourth round picks, so there's a bunch of room here to work. And we'll see what happens, man. I would love for them to get CeeDee Lamb. What do you guys think? I mean, I'm thinking, if not CeeDee Lamb, I'm praying that Justin Jefferson or one of my biggest guys as far as like realistic options go, who I think could end up being the best wide receiver in this draft, is Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims. Denzel Mims is just one of these guys that I think that we're going to be looking back at this season and going, damn, look at how many teams passed over, this guy. He's a freak of nature. You look at his body, and it's so interesting because in one of my videos when I did my videos about the wide receivers that the Eagles could get, I compared Denzel Mims to Randy Moss, and ironically enough, Randy Moss, you guys are still seeing me here, hopefully. Randy Moss was, in the 1998 draft, was picked at 20 by the Minnesota Vikings. So how awesome would it be if the Eagles could end up getting a guy to that caliber? What's up? Oh, AP, what's up, dude? Can you guys still see me? Because I'm getting like an error message from YouTube. So just like type in number 1. But AP, I'm glad to see you got out of that work situation okay. It's getting crazy, right? I like Henry Ruggs too. I like Henry Ruggs too. I really do, and I think that there's a possibility that he could fall. So man, there's so many good guys right here. In this draft. It's insane. It really is. There are guys that I think are going to go in the second round that could be like in any other draft, could be first round draft picks. You know what I mean? Like, all right, cool. You guys can still see me. But man, Denzel Mims, dude, Peyton, have you seen? I mean, his highlights, man. Like the fight in him. That's what I like. Like he goes, and we haven't had a wide receiver like this in a really long time. He snatches that ball away, man. Like there's just something about this guy. I kind of feel like he might go a little bit earlier than 21. I really do. But I would love to have him, Henry Ruggs. I think, and a lot of people are sleeping on Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson was the go-to guy in LSU, and a lot of people, and I get a lot of Eagle fans going, well, he plays the slot. We don't need a slot guy. I'm like, are you kidding me? I don't care if this dude plays X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, or G. He is an absolute stud. An absolute stud. And just another dude that goes for the ball, man. Just absolutely wants to rip the ball away. And I think I've heard so Denzel Mims was on the radio on WIP, and he said that the Eagles have contacted him more than any other team. So, I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire, I think. And it's funny. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Bleeding Green Nation, but they posted something where last year around this time they talked about how the Eagles really liked Miles Sanders, and this year they said that the Eagles really like CeeDee Lamb. So, I don't know, man. It is exciting, dude. I can't wait. And we do need offensive line help. We really do. I heard that the Eagles were interested in a center. Now, Jason Kelsey came out yesterday and said that he is not retiring, that he will be suiting up this season. But they definitely need to start thinking about getting somebody behind him. What's up, Dallas Cowboys are losers? I love that name. I love that name. I might have to change my name to Dallas Cowboys are losers too, because that's an awesome name. But yeah, this draft, man. AP Cowboys are trash, dude. They are just. I could go on a tangent about Cowboy fans this video. They're still talking about Super Bowls they won before I was alive and before the internet was created. But still on VHS tapes. So yeah, Eagles Nation says Justin Jefferson is a comparison to OBJ. I agree. Man, can you imagine? And here's I want to talk while we're talking about the draft. I don't want to get too off subject here. And Peyton, tell me if you agree with this. This is what I would love for the Eagles to do. In a perfect world, you trade your number one to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you know what? Trade next year's one too, and maybe one of those fourth round picks for Yannick Ngakoue. You still have your second round pick. And in that second round, can you imagine if Mims drops to you in the second round? Man, I mean, I know it's a pipe dream, but that would... I think our defense is going to be 100% better than it was last year anyway. But you put Ngakoue on this team and then get Carson a weapon like Mims. Hell, even at that point, I'll take KJ Hamler from Penn State in the second round if they can get Ngakoue. I really would. I really like what they've done with this with this defense. That they'll probably draft a safety maybe, but I'm looking at the first two rounds if they stay put. I'm looking at the first two rounds that they get, and this is going to be crazy because it's not like Howie, but I think they go two wide receivers. I think they get two wide receivers. I'm looking at like Mims and Hamler, or Justin Jefferson and Hamler, or maybe Laviska Shenault. He's a freak of nature too. And then in the fourth round, they go offensive line, they go running back, and they go safety. I really do. Or maybe if an edge rusher's there that's another thing, man. And it's going to piss a lot of people off. But we need another edge rusher, so they could definitely go edge rusher maybe in two. I believe they gave their third round pick to Darius Slay, or to the Lions for Darius Slay. But Eagles Nation, so T. Higgins, man, like, I was kind of high on him, and then I watched a little bit more, and I hate to say film because, like, I'm like you, I'm the same as you guys, man. I'm not, like, any kind of analyst or anything. I don't get tape that other people don't see. But just from, like, I think one night at work I was really bored, and I watched a lot of T. Higgins for some reason. He really feasts on bad competition. But when it came to like some of the better teams, man, he just didn't have that same energy, that same fire. But look, if you get a Lamb and a Higgins, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain at all. Not at all. And I think, and man, we can see, let's just talk about J.J. Arcega-Whiteside for a minute. How when if you look at his tape and you look at his production through college, it's pretty damn good. I mean, we had a reason to be excited about maybe having the next Alshon Jeffrey, right? So he shits the bed completely, looks lost out there, and I'm wondering how much of that was coaching. They get Moorhead, the ex-wide receiver from the Colts, in there to coach. Maybe he has a turnaround with Arcega-Whiteside. Then you get two other wide receivers on top of that, on top of a D-Jack with a chip on his shoulder. I'm excited. I'm excited. This offense, and I said this in my last video, and some trolls were like, "You're smoking, like this, you're crazy." I said the Eagles, if they can nail this draft, you're looking at a Super Bowl contender. I mean, look, you are. Because look, think about what they did last year. Think about what they did last year with what they had. Now, if you get, a Denzel Mims, and you get maybe a Chase Claypool, even, right? on top of maybe just give me a couple touchdowns out of Arcega-Whiteside, right? D-Jack. Let's say Alshon is even still on the team by week 8. You get a little production from him. Now you have these two stud tight ends in Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. You've got a running back that says that he wants to be what Christian McCaffrey is to Carolina to the Eagles. And look, man, the guy reminds me a lot of Le'Veon Bell, but he's a stud. Miles Sanders is a stud. You got Boston Scott, who can always give you something. He may be the next Darren Sproles, maybe a poor man's Darren Sproles, but he's got some juice. They're going to need to get a third running back, whether that's in the draft or or a free agent. And either way, you're going to improve there, right? And then your offensive line, if they can just stay healthy and you get a couple more pieces in there to add to that offensive line, you're looking at now, and again, Carson Wentz is going to be motivated. Now you've got just, and I'm not even going to talk about all the coaching changes they made on the offensive side. I could go through that, but we'll be here for hours. But now you've got a really good offense. And it doesn't have to, I'm not talking like Rams a couple years ago where it's going to be 60-some points, but you're looking at a good offense that can hit you in so many different ways. And then the defense, man. What Howie Roseman has done for that defense, people are not talking about right now, but I'm telling you, this dude Hargrave is one of the least talked about signings. This dude, man, is a monster. Him and Fletcher Cox are going to eat. Fletcher is coming now a year full of no injury because he played pretty much hurt all last year, coming off of that injury from the year before. Okay, you got Brandon Graham. Derek Barnett has to do something, but they'll probably try to find another edge rusher too. And this secondary has something that we haven't had in a long time in that secondary, and that's swagger, man. Darius Slay, I don't have to say anything about him. I think Jalen Mills is going to kick ass as a safety. He did it in college. That Patriots game, he played safety a little bit. He was on the field for every snap. He looked really good. He's going to have a chip on his shoulder. Then you got Will Parks, my boy Will Parks, who's never really been a starter, is probably going to get a chance to. He brings a lot of juice. Now you've got a team that is Super Bowl worthy, in my opinion. You really do. And nobody, and let me put it this way too, in 2017 offseason, nobody was talking about the Eagles as Super Bowl contenders. Nobody. I wasn't. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't. But what they do, they went out and got a good wide receiver in Alshon Jeffrey. He looks like he's 80 years old now, but a couple years ago, he was legit. They got a nice little secondary receiver in Torrey Smith. They got a big-ass monster bull in LeGarrette Blount, okay? I mean, and everything changed. And they made a couple changes on that defense too. And everything changed. And while I talk about the defense and while we're talking about the draft, and you tell me what you guys think, and I don't know, Peyton, maybe you're still with me or not, I don't know. They need a linebacker. They need a linebacker. Bad. And, I've seen some mock drafts where they say the Eagles will take Queen at 21 if these wide receivers that they want aren't there. And what's up, everybody? I see we're getting a little bit more viewers. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. This is kind of a test run. I'm going to go live during the draft Thursday. So I kind of wanted to get in here and spit some stuff. And to also talk some COVID-19 if you guys want to talk about that, how that's affecting you. This is one of the craziest times I've ever seen in my life. I mean, you look at 9/11, this is 100 times worse. I mean, the fact that most people can't leave their house or aren't supposed to leave their house. There's no sports. Think about that. No, the NBA playoffs were supposed to start today. They were supposed to start today, and we have nothing. For those of you that don't know, I'm a professional wrestler. I wrestle. I've been doing it for years now. I've done stuff with WWE. But if it's not with WWE, I'm traveling almost every weekend as an independent contractor. As everybody knows, that's shut down. So, I haven't done that in a while. I miss it terribly. WrestleMania just happened with no fans. There's no baseball. I mean, it is just insane right now. It really is. And I really hope that it doesn't mess up this football season. I don't think it will. Let me go to some of your comments because I've been FUCK the Cowboys. I believe I agree with that. I can say it. My kids are upstairs. Fuck the Cowboys. You're right. We can get T. Higgins in a second. I believe that. I think he might drop even further than that, to be honest with you. Dallas Cowboys are losers. Eagles Fly says we have to make a trade. Maybe. I mean, if you want a CD Lamb type of guy, you're going to want to. But I'm looking at the draft order. There are teams that are going to want wide receivers. New York Jets, Las Vegas Raiders. That's still weird to say. Shit, man. Depending on what the Browns do with OBJ, they might be looking for one. Does Tom Brady want a young, dynamic wide receiver in Tampa Bay? Does Denver want a wide receiver? I mean, there are a lot of teams that are going to be wanting a wide receiver, and you got Minnesota, I believe, picking behind us. They might try to jump over us to get. It's going to be it's going to be interesting, and I'm damn excited because with this COVID, we haven't had anything new in sports. And now we are. Roadrunner Greg Ward, he says Greg Ward is going to do something too. You know what? Yeah, I feel bad for leaving him out. He's a nice little player, man. I really like him. I hope, I was really disappointed that they did not pull off some trick plays with him throwing the ball because he was a good quarterback in college, a really good quarterback. It's just his size is what held him back. And the dude is a hustler. He really is. A lot of people, if you think of, and I think we take for granted some of these athletes and what they go through. Can you imagine, like, there's something you're passionate about, something that is putting food on your table, you keep getting told no over and over and over again to the point where you go to the AAF and you come back and you get cut and you come back. I mean, what that must do to somebody mentally, I just can't imagine it. Again, coming from a standpoint of wrestling, you go up to the big time and do a little work sometimes, you just keep getting told no, and it when you go home and you go back to that real job, it does something to you mentally. It really does. So yeah, I like Greg Ward. I do, and I think he's probably gonna get that slot job depending on what they do in the draft. Eagles Nation says Carson has a big arm. We need a guy that can get deep downfield. I agree. I think Justin Jefferson's that dude. CD Lamb is that guy. KJ Hamler's getting a lot of talk right now from Penn State. I've got mixed things with him. I think KJ Hamler is dynamic. I think he's obviously fast. Again, reminds me of a D-Jack. Really does. But you guys can tell me if I'm wrong or not. But he looks like he got bricks for hands. I've seen a couple different games where balls are just bouncing off his chest, bouncing off his helmet. But again, this is something that can probably be fixed. You can't teach speed. I can teach a guy how to catch. I mean, I can't, but you get what I'm saying, right? So I could, and he's pulling to get on the Eagles bad too. He really wants to be an Eagle. But yeah, so I'm gonna throw the question out there for everybody that's still watching. Like, how is this COVID affecting everybody? Like everybody, I hope everybody's staying safe, staying healthy. I'm doing what I can. Not just like I said, I wrestle, but I'm also an essential worker. Right there on the front lines. So I have to go to work still, and I mean, I'll just say I work in a prison. I'm a correctional officer, so a lot of these guys now, coworkers, and inmates are getting this virus, man, and it's scary. It's really scary, man. And I wasn't a believer. I was one of those guys that was like, man, this is overblown. The flu kills thousands and thousands a year, and nobody says anything. But I know guys, healthy young guys that have got this, and they've said it's been the absolute worst thing that they've ever gotten. So, but. Apparently, you guys don't want to talk about that. So yeah, we'll get back to these birds, and again, the draft just a couple days away, man. 4 or 5 days away. I'm going to be interested in F COVID. That's right, Auding Otter, F COVID. I'm going to be interested to see how it's presented. I really am. I'm one of these guys that, like, I love especially when it was in Philly, it was amazing, right? I love the spectacle. The guys walking on the stage is cool. The whole nine. The crowd obviously makes it special. But it takes so long, it seems like, to where this year I think they could speed shit up a little bit, man. I really don't care to watch all these, grown men in suits looking at their cell phones, waiting to get the call. That doesn't do anything for me. Um, you know what I'm saying? Like, so hopefully maybe this year it speeds up a little bit because you're gonna have all these cameras that apparently are already put into these GMs' homes. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be really interesting. I said earlier in another video that they could do something like the XFL did, uh, and that's another topic there, the XFL. But what I loved about the XFL was they did a lot of like pulling back the curtain type things, like the referees. They mic'd the refs, so when they were in that huddle, we all get annoyed. Ref throws a flag, and then they get in a huddle, and they got to talk about the shit for feels like forever, but before we get a play, right? Well, the XFL, they mic these guys, so you hear exactly what's going on, exactly what they're talking about, which I thought was amazing. I thought was awesome. And then the challenges, they actually go in the challenge booth, and you see what the guy's looking at and what he's thinking of. So I think that going into this draft, you can kind of do something like that. And when I say that, I mean, see what's happening with this. See the GMs actually like mulling over trades. And I'm not saying you got to hear the trade because that would be stupid. But hey, it looks like so and so might be trading. Blah blah blah. Let's shoot back or get a reaction, get a GM or coach's reaction to another team's pick. I think they could do some cool stuff with it, man. I really do. Sucks for the players because they're not going to be able to get their moment, walk onto that stage. But yeah, I really I think it's going to be interesting, and it's probably going to be good TV. I really hope it is. I think the most happy person about this whole thing, the draft being virtual, is probably Roger Goodell, because this is the first draft that he's not going to be getting booed. Unless that'd be really funny if he had a bunch of kids in his basement or something booing him when he goes up or goes to make a announcement. But so yeah, guys, I'm gonna start winding this down. I'm starving. I've been up since I work midnights, so I've been up for a while, and haven't gotten any sleep. Like I said, and the biggest thing for me too is like not having a gym. I'm a big gym guy, so COVID has forced me to work out at home, and I'm so tired from working out because I'm doing more with light weights, so I'm like overdoing it, and it's crazy. It really is. This whole thing is nuts, but we're gonna get a little relief from that on Thursday with this draft. Any other draft questions, man? If any of you guys have them before I head out. Like I said, I think the Eagles are gonna. This is the year, man. This is the year for them to do something in this draft. It really is. You cannot leave this draft without. And look, man, wide receiver is a sexy position, so we talk about it all the time. But these guys are too good. You cannot miss this. You cannot have a miss. You cannot have another J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. You can't. I mean, you've got to pick the right guy. They really do. And if trading up, look, I'll pull this out too. Even though it might make sense and it might not be that bad in the long run when we look at what happens, but how bad will it be if we're waiting all the way until 21 and you get that notification that the Eagles have traded back or traded out of the first round, and now you got to wait till the next day? That'll be horrible. That'd be absolutely horrible. I hope that that does not happen. I really do. I would, getting CeeDee Lamb, it just doesn't look. I just cannot see. I mean, they would have to go from 21 to 9 or 10. You're going to have to give up a lot of stuff, man. I just don't see it happening. I wish on it. I'll pray on it. I don't see it happening. So I would just stay right at 21. Stay at 21 unless there's a situation where you think a team's going to take, a Justin Jefferson or a Denzel Mims, and you have to jump up a couple spots. That's fine. But if not, stay. And if you take a linebacker and you get a good wide receiver in the second round, I'm not going to be mad at you either. I'm just not. So, all right. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to end this thing right now. Again, this was basically a test run for Thursday. I'm going to try to do, and Auditor says Mims. Yeah, I think that a lot of people are starting to come around on him. I would love to see him in midnight green. And I'll put it this way: if Denzel Mims gets drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm getting that jersey ASAP. I really will. Same with CeeDee Lamb. And if anybody knows me, I'm very specific with what jerseys I get to wear during the season. So look, man, thanks for everybody that did watch. Thanks for everybody that will watch when this goes up. I'll be back, like I said, probably tomorrow. I'm going to try to figure out this mobile thing. Because YouTube has you got to have 1,000 subscribers in order to go live. I obviously do not have that. Thanks to all the new subscribers that are going to watch this. So we've really made a jump. And I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that watches anything that I put out there. It's, time is very valuable. It really is. It's probably the most valuable thing that you have is time. And anybody that's taking the time out to watch me, I appreciate it. I love it. So I'm not going to hit 1,000 by Thursday. I would love to, instead of moving this setup that I have to where I'm going to watch the draft, I'd rather just have the phone. And Streamlabs, I did a test run a couple weeks ago. It seemed to work okay. And then today it just completely shit the bed. So we'll see. I'll probably do another live tomorrow. But again, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. AP, if you're still watching, man, stay safe, stay healthy. And that goes to everybody, too. I know it's corny for people to say, oh, we're going to get through this, we're going to beat this. But, man, we will. We will. Human race, the one thing about us is we are very resilient. Very resilient. So this will pass just like other things have passed. But the Philadelphia Eagles better not pass on Denzel Mims. Anyway, thanks again for watching. Go Birds. Fly Eagles fly. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Thanks.